on all the other events too, so she should have a real good meet as well.
This meet is also known for upsets, for surprises. We are sure to have some tonight. We invite you to stick with us. The first rotation begins shortly, right here on Fox Sports Chicago. Getting ready for the first rotation here at the University of Iowa's Carver Hawkeye Arena. And one event will look considerably different, the vault. Let's take a look at a new judging decision from Robin Hubner.
Mike, up until this year, the only way a college gymnast could get from here, the board, to here, the vaulting horse, was with forward movement, either by doing a handspring onto the vault or some kind of twist onto the vault. This year, there's something completely new in college gymnastics. The coaches have decided that your Yurchenko vault should be allowed in this level of competition. Basically, it's a round off onto the board and a back handspring, if you will, onto the horse, and then flipping or twisting off. So I think the Yurchenko style vaults are going to add a whole new element to this event this year. Mike?
Thanks, Robin. It is a risky move, too, but a very, very dramatic one. Let's set the lineups for the first rotation. On the vault will be Michigan State, Ohio State on the uneven bars. Michigan will start on the beam, and Illinois will begin the floor exercise. Minnesota, Penn State, Iowa have byes on this first rotation. And let's take a look first at the vault, where Michigan State will begin. The Spartans in the green leotards, coached by Kathy Klages, and leading off will be Caroline Hecht. And Caroline Hecht herself is a story. Back after an injury, she had an outstanding freshman campaign, did extremely well, second in the all-around. Missed most of last year with an injury, and she is back and back strong. There's Kathy Klages, veteran coach at Michigan State University. They are pumped. They really think they have a shot here at dethroning Michigan. While we get ready, let's take a look at, this is Kathy Burke of Michigan on the beam. Kathy Burke, a junior, and Robin, the beam and the University of Michigan have not had good relationships in these championships.
They have just about given away 2 championships with this event. The last couple of years they've had balance beam as their last event, and they've just kind of fallen apart. Luckily not enough to lose the championship. This year they've got their first event, and there's a fall. That's a 5/10 deduction. In college gymnastics, 6 gymnasts on each event, 5 of the scores count. So Michigan is going to hope that that is the score they're going to have to drop, because they don't want to have to count that score with a 5/10 deduction.
Kathy Burke, a junior from Pennsylvania.
As I said, this has typically been a tough event for Michigan, and Bev Blocky is hoping that this year, doing it first, maybe it'll bring them a little bit different luck.
All right, Kathy Burke finishes her routine. Let's pick up Caroline Hecht. This is the first vault. Of course, you get 2.
And she does a handspring tuck. Each vault is given an assigned value. The handspring front tuck is worth a 9.8. So had she done it perfectly, that would be the top score she could get.
Once again, Caroline Hecht. Her second vault.
The best of the 2 will count toward the team total. She's going to look for a little bit better landing on this one. And she may have gotten it with that slight step to the side.
Okay, Caroline Hecht gets a hug from Coach Kathy Klages.
Some of the things to look for on vault: good speed into the horse, good pre-flight to the horse, good body position on the horse, and then, of course, like to see the gymnast go way up in the air and land far from the horse if possible.
University of Illinois on the floor exercise now. Let's pick up Lisa Pellegrinetti. Pellegrinetti, a freshman, and a last-minute lineup change substitution here for assistant coach Bob Starkel. And Starkel is here because Lynn Bruckman, the Illinois coach, is expecting child number 1 any day now.
Any moment.
So you know there are a lot of cell phones out there.
Yes.
With a direct relay to the coach. Here's Lisa Pellegrinetti and her floor exercise routine.
We mentioned the Yurchenko vault as something new this year. Something else that is new this year is a new code of points. Every couple of years, the code of points is adjusted because each year the gymnasts seem to get better and better and better. And so they sort of have to up the ante a little bit and make things a little bit tougher. And this year, one of the biggest changes is a 2/10 deduction instead of a 1/10 deduction if they don't complete a series or a required move, and we'll try to point some of that out. And also, the judges are going to be pickier than ever before on execution. Handstand turns on the uneven bars have to be right in the handstand position. Split leaps on the floor exercise and the balance beam have to be fully split in order to get the full credit. So they're going to be very picky. In the past, they might have let that slide through. This year, not so.
And here again, Illinois, freshman Lisa Pellegrinetti.
Floor exercise, you'll see 3 tumbling runs. And she opens with a pipe double back. Floor exercise, obviously the only event that incorporates music. And the coach and the gymnast together try to pick out music that fits the gymnast's personality and style. Number 2, she takes it backwards again, another double back, this one in tuck position. But the floor exercise, of course, isn't all just about tumbling. You've got to show some dance, and there are dance requirements as well, combining leaps and jumps and turns. The judges are looking for as much difficulty, hopefully, in the dance as they do in the tumbling. And she'll go front this time, a little front tumbling into back tumbling.
And Lisa Pellegrinetti, who spent her high school gymnastics career at Chicago area powerhouse Friend High School, finishes her first championship routine. A couple of scores to report. Caroline Hecht, a 9.575 on her vault. And Kathy Burke, a 9.2 after that fall on the beam. Now let's go on the beam. Michigan's Lisa Symes, defending champion in this event. And here is Lisa Symes from Canada, a junior, and again, one of the favorites for the all-around championship.
We saw Kathy Burke fall and take the 5/10 deduction. So the pressure is on. If Michigan's going to win this meet, they're going to have to hit these routines.
Well, Lisa Symes is used to pressure. 3 Michigan vaulters had major flaws or falls before she got up there, and she went ahead and won the event. That was last year.
Balance beam is one of those events that can make or break a gymnast or a team.
Next on floor for the Fighting Illini, Carissa Erickson.
And she does one of the required series moves there. Back handspring layout walkout. And that series has to include a flank element, which you just saw. And then there's a front summy, which she nails pretty solidly there. Showing nice amplitude there and straddle, jump, right in direct combination with back handspring, fish down. And she's got to stick this dismount. And she does. Double back. Keeps Michigan right on track.
All right, Lisa Symes, the junior from Saskatchewan, gets the hugs and the kisses from her teammates. Let's go on the bars. Ohio State is there. Here is senior Stephanie Light on the uneven bars.
There she takes a 5/10 deduction. I mentioned some of the changes in the scoring. This year on the bars, gymnast has to do 2 B flight moves. They have to be different. And that was a flight move right there where she moved to the low bar. The routine has to have 10 elements, minimum of. Looking for good handstand positions, handstand turns that occur right on the top of the bar. She finishes with a nice finish after having to take the fall.
Okay, Stephanie Light finishes her routine, and let's go over to the vault, Michigan State. This is the second vault, Michigan State.
And Kristen Peugeot with a nice effort there.
And here is Bridget Knabley, freshman, University of Michigan, having some trouble as she's up on the beam. Bridget Knabley, freshman whose sister Mindy is a senior at University of Minnesota, and that will be an ongoing story here as mom and dad and the family have lots of dual allegiance.
Yes. Bridget says she chose Michigan just because it felt right, although family sure would love to have seen her stay in Minnesota so they could make it to all of the meets. She's had a couple little bobbles here, but that was nice and solid.
Lisa Symes, by the way, at 9.8 on the bar on the balance beam for her routine, considerably off her best, and last year's 9.95. So Lisa Symes may have a problem right away as far as her all-around chances. Again, this is Bridget Knabley, the freshman.
And Bridget's sister Mindy won this event, or was a co-champion on this event last year. So they're good beam workers in this family. She finishes nicely. She just had a couple little balance checks, a little bit of nerves coming out.
Bridget Knabley, and there is Beverly Plocky, her coach. And now to freshman Melissa Green for Michigan State. Here she goes.
And she does a handspring front tuck with a real problem on the landing. That's a big deduction.
And Melissa Green again will have a chance to redeem herself with the second vault. And here she is. Again, it's the better of the two that counts. So you're not automatically out of it if you've got trouble on the first one. Here's Melissa.
She over-rotated the first one. She's going to have to see if she can find a little bit of a happy medium here. Go for the stick landing. There. That's the vault she probably has practiced and is known to do on a daily basis.
Big smile. Melissa Green from East Lansing. Hometown product for Michigan State. Over to the uneven bars, and here is Susan Ekman. Susan Ekman, probably the outstanding gymnast for Ohio State, but slowed by an ankle injury. Normally an all-arounder. She was only competing on the bars and possibly one other event. Susan Ekman, the junior who tied for second in this event last year.
Nice handstand pirouette occurring right on the top of the bar, right into a double tuck layaway.
She knows she's smiling, but you know that ankle's got to be throbbing. She injured it only a couple of days ago in practice.
Sometimes when you're in the meet situation, though, and the adrenaline is going, it's easy to put those things out of mind.
Stephanie Light on her bars routine an 8.8. Melissa Green a 9.675. And here is Elizabeth Forshita, ranked 12th in the country on the vault.
Very pretty handspring pike. And that vault is worth a 9.9. I didn't really see anything wrong with that vault. It was way up in the air.
When you say
she
it's
kicked
worth,
it
that's
out.
the maximum.
The max she could get on that would be a 9.9. And she illustrates exactly what you're looking for in that particular vault. She got a great deal of height. She kicked open the pike. She landed a great distance away from the horse and just had that tiny little hop on the landing.
Forshita, freshman from South St. Paul, Minnesota, walking again with Kathy Klages. They're going to get set for vault number 2. Melissa Green, as we told you, a 9.675 on her vault. And Bridget Knabley, a 9.175 on her beam routine. And you think that might be a touch low. Once again, judges do a lot of work by reputation, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yes. All right.
Another great looking handspring pike front that we saw. Michigan seems to have that. Michigan State, rather, seems to have that vault down pretty well.
Susan Ekman, a 9.9 on her uneven bars routine.
That was a great routine and a great score. She had a couple of big release moves. We'll be looking for that on the uneven bars a little bit more. I'll try to explain some of those as we go along.
And Michigan State congratulating Elizabeth Forshear as we wait for her score. Meanwhile, back to Michigan on the beam. Last year's all-around champion and gymnast of the year as a freshman. Here is Sarah Kane.
She is such a pretty gymnast up in the balance beam. Nice form all the time. Beautiful back handspring layout, back handspring, not a bobble. Doing the required full turn. Beautiful leap there. I talked about the judges looking for complete amplitude execution on those leaps. If she wouldn't have reached the straddle position, they may have taken a deduction. But she does it fully extended. There was a nice combination there. She had to pull it down a little bit too quick, but this combination of a leap into an acrobatic element.
Sarah Kane tied for 4th a year ago, as we said, on her way to the all-around championship as a freshman.
Oh, that is a big deduction again, that 5/10. I'm not really sure what happened there. She had a great routine going. She just kind of let it go.
Well, we saw a couple of immediate problems for Michigan. Nobody, 3 people didn't fall off the beam, but you know, Lisa Symes' routine, although she did come up with a 9.8, looked a bit tentative.
I think this balance beam is a tough event for them in championship times. Doesn't matter if it's their last event or first event, they seem to be showing a little bit of jitters in their first go here.
Well, again, it's a long competition. We will have a total of 7 different rotations where 4 schools will be competing. 3 will have byes. And this is, again, the first rotation. Let us go on the floor now. An exciting young gymnast, the public league champion or the Illinois state champion as a high schooler, Phaedra Dixon from Chicago's Whitney Young High School.
And she opens with a nice double back. And she's going to tumble right back again in the other direction, this time forward. There she stepped out of bounds. That's a 1/10 deduction. And in a meet where you're talking about fractions of points separating teams, those little deductions can come back to bite you in the end. Gears up for run number 3. She'll take it back again with a double back. Having a little bit of trouble on the landings on her tumbling runs. Nice finish.
Phaedra Dixon, freshman at the University of Illinois, now on the beam for Michigan. The final entrant, senior Heather Kabnick. Kabnick from Coral Springs, Florida. Needs a big finish here. She was one of those who fell last year, I believe.
And with Kathy Burke falling and Sarah Kane taking a fall on the dismount, they're already going to have to count one of those routines with a fall. So the pressure is on Heather to stay on the beam.
Kabnick has had an outstanding career at Michigan, and one of those very much in competition for the all-around championship.
nice combination of leaps right into an acrobatic move and another leap. It's pretty steady at this point.
Concludes our first round of competition. Teams, please prepare to proceed to...
Well, let the record be corrected. No, Heather did not fall. As a matter of fact, she came in with 9.95 on the...
Far cry from a fall. And here's her dismount. She's got to stick this.
And didn't.
Just about, though.
Well, let's recorrect it. She did fall last year, had a 9.45. Let's go to the floor now. Here is Kim Barris from the University of Illinois.
And she starts, whoa, with a double back. She almost looked like she could have done another flip in there. She had so much speed and rotation going for her that she goes right out of bounds.
Right into the arms of her assistant coach, acting head coach, Bob Stark.
And she pulls herself together, though, and for the second tumble run.
That has got to be so difficult mentally when you come in and you're all pumped, and then you have a problem right off the bat to get up and finish that routine.
I think part of it was she was so pumped.
Almost went out of the gym.
She did. Once again, you have to pull together and finish. It's still a very solid routine.
Kavnik, by the way, a 9.8 on her beam routine. And as we were right the first time, she had a 9.45 last year. So greatly improved. Sarah Kane, meanwhile, with a 9.325, and that did not help her at all.
Tough break for Kim Barris. She takes the fall, goes out of bounds. Her teammates kind of laugh and say, yeah, you had just a little too much pump going there.
Well, lots more to come here. We will pick up rotation number 2 at the Big Ten Championships after this. We pick up the action now with the second rotation. Minnesota moves to the vault. Penn State on the bars. Ohio State goes to the balance beam. And the homestanding Iowa Hawkeyes, we see them for the first time on the floor exercise. Illinois, Michigan State, and Michigan will sit this rotation out. Meanwhile, on the uneven bars, here is the highly touted freshman from Penn State by way of England, Gemma Cuff. She was Big Ten Gymnast of the Month earlier this year. They've expected a lot from her. There is Steve Shepard, her coach, walking to her. And Gemma Cuff, as a freshman, is helping boost Penn State's chances quite a bit.
When she was warming up before this event earlier in the evening, she had a little bit of trouble with her release moves. And so we're going to see how she does. She does 2 releases. She didn't seem real happy with the warm-up. Once again, the release moves are kind of the well, the thing the judges are looking for in terms of getting the big scores.
The great separators.
Yes. And we're about to see one of them. His handstands on the top, Keeley turn, and there's release move number 1, a Ginger. No trouble on that one. And here comes a reverse hecht. Just caught her heel slightly, but she keeps swinging. That's the main thing. And she wraps it out with a double pec flyaway.
Good routine.
Good set.
Good routine to start off for Gemma Cuff. You just wonder again. She's an accomplished gymnast in England. She did extremely well, but this is her first taste of the Big Ten Championships, and she did well. Let's go on to the floor, and Julie Mattolo from the University of Iowa. Julie, a sophomore.
Waiting for the nod from the judge. All of her teammates as close as they can get without being on the floor. Styles of music. Certainly suits her. And her first tumbling run goes backwards. It's a 2.5 twist. She keeps it in bounds, I think.
Just barely. Just barely.
Bit of a bobble on that double turn. Might take a small deduction for that. Front summy into a double twist. Nice and clean. Wraps it up with a double twist.
Julie Mazzolo, sophomore from Davis, California for Iowa. Here is Mindy Knavely, big sister, on the vault for Minnesota.
Great landing on that. That is a solid vault. Handspring tuck front's worth a 9.8, so perfect. That would be the highest she could score.
Talking to Coach Jim Henderson, co-head coach Jim Henderson, along with wife Meg. They are the co-head coaches now at the University of Minnesota. Mindy Knavely, we have seen her. There's a little Minnesota tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
There in the between the shoulders. If you were wondering what that was, I'm sure we'll get close-ups.
The vault is not Minnesota's strongest event. They've been working on it year after year, trying to recruit good vaulters, and they're slowly improving on this event.
And this is not Mindy's best event either, but again, she is such an outstanding
She's not shabby on this event at all. Jim and Meg Stevenson, coaches of the Gophers, their philosophy is to do the best skills they can while doing them with very good form and execution. And she does it in pike and has a real trouble with that vault.
But you could smile a little bit because the first one was good.
First one was very good.
Over to the floor exercise now. Here is Lori Whitwer. Another familiar face, not only on the University of Iowa campus where she resides, but as a veteran of this competition. Lori, a junior, on the floor exercise. Lori from Washington State.
Big dramatic music for Lori. Floor exercise is a favorite event for a lot of collegiate gymnasts. It's really a chance to show off and play with the crowd. There really isn't any other event that you can do that with to any degree. So this is the opportunity to do it.
Finished 5th in the floor exercise a year ago at these championships. And obviously having a good time.
Yes. We talk about music selection. She opened with the real dramatic, fast stuff. Now she slows it down a little bit. It's a nice variety.
You just wonder with the din in this place how you can concentrate on your music.
Well, it's about the loudest thing in here besides the crowd.
It's probably worse if you're on the beam and
worse
a big
if you're on the beam,
comes
yes.
crashing down. Lori Whitwer at 5'7", one of the taller gymnasts in the competition. And we'll get you that score in just a minute. Meanwhile, over on the vault, this is Shannon Lancaster from the University of Minnesota.
She did a 9.775 on the first vault. She nailed it. Let's see how she does this time. Handspring pike.
Whoops.
Just like Mindy Knabley before her. A little trouble on the second vault.
Knabley with a 9.225. And here Lancaster, who also, by the way, is an accomplished violinist. We saw that last night at the team banquet, where she led the Minnesota fight song by giving everybody the pitch. And Coach Jim Henderson's tenor led the fight song as well.
Multi-talented young woman.
But right now a 9.775. She'll take that over the pizzicato or any kind of other violin solo for Shannon Lancaster. Meanwhile, Knabley, as we told you, 9.225. And over on the bars, this is our first look at Penn State's outstanding gymnast, Missy Leopoldis.
Good handstand position there. She works very nicely, swings very well. This Healy turn right into a release. Slight form break there, nothing major. And toe on with a half.
Oh, nice job. Missy Leopoldis. And the cheers you hear are from her teammates and supporters in the stands. Again, Missy Leopoldis finished tied for 10th a year ago, but obviously in a big push for the all-around. Try to get that score for you in a minute.
We talked about the change in the code of points, and I mentioned some of the rule changes for this year. But one other change is that instead of starting routines from a 9.6 and then doing bonus moves to get up to a 10.0, this year routines start from a 9.5. All of the other events except for the vault. So they've made it a little bit tougher. It's a little bit harder to get bonus.
Here is Stacy Batza from Minnesota, her second vault. And those second vaults, it's good to have one in your pocket.
It sure is. You know, in the men's gymnastics, they only get one shot at it. So the women at least have that second vault. Of course, the low score is thrown out.
Back to the floor exercise now. Angie Hungerford, freshman for Iowa, is up next.
Opens with a nice double back. I was talking just a bit ago about the routine starting from a 9.5 and then having to build from there. I think for that reason, we probably aren't going to see, going to see any 10s in this meet, because that's one of the reasons that the scores have been adjusted. That the gymnasts have been getting so much better year after year that they finally had to make those adjustments.
Angie Hungerford, and here as we go back to the vault, and this is Kim Svem, senior for the University of Minnesota, their outstanding vaulter, their best vaulter, finished 4th a year ago and nationally ranked here. And Kim just had her first vault. We'll try to pick that score up for you, and now she's going to take the second.
She did really well on the first one, so we'll see how she does on her second effort. She does handspring front. One thing I really like about Kim's vaulting is she makes it look so easy.
Let's take a look at a replay of the first vault for Kim Svem. Here we go.
Handspring pike. She tucked it a little bit on toward the landing and took just a tiny hop to the side.
9.675 on that one, and now she will try to better that.
I've seen her do it better than that effort, so.
They're giving her last-minute encouragement in her ear. Co-coach Meg Stevenson.
Minnesota having a very tough time making their landings. They're at least each one of their athletes has at least hit one of the vaults, but they're just a little bit uncertain of their landings.
Kim managed manages the smile, wants to go into television sportscasting.
Yes.
All right. We expect she'll have my job in about 2 years.
Mine, next year, I'm sure. She loves sports. She's grown up being an athlete.
Missy Leopoldis, by the way, a 9.7 for her routine on the bars. Her teammate Ellen Casey, a 9.9, a very strong effort for Penn State on the bars, as Kim gets the Minnesota Golden Gopher supporters going in the stands.
And you know, we saw Michigan open the door a little bit with their first effort, their first round on the balance beam, taking a couple of uncharacteristically low scores, having to count a couple of falls. So they have opened the door just a little bit.
All right, and here is someone we should keep an eye on, Giselle Bonaforte, the freshman from Iowa. Again, thought to be very much in contention for the all-around. And this is her first routine of the evening.
She looks loose and ready.
Oh, talking to her before the match, she was just having a great old time. Her teammates are being real subtle. They're just cheering on the other side of the mat.
You know, for a lot of these athletes, they've grown up in club gymnastics. And, you know, there's a certain amount of pressure when you're competing as an individual with a club. But college gymnastics, I've heard from most of the athletes, that it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more team-oriented. Triple twist. She gets all three of them in. And she takes it back the other way with another one. She can twist. And she's oblivious to the fact that she's losing the number off the back of her leotard. That's quite all right. Of course, the numbers are meant for, so we can keep track of who we're talking about here.
Well, we're going to know who she is.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody will by the time this evening is over.
She's had two great tumbling runs. We look for a little bit different kind of tumbling here. Oh, she's going to twist this one, too. Double twist. The only drawback I could see in that routine, great tumbling, but it was all kind of the same. She did triple twist, and double twist. One of them had an additional front salto, and that might be the only thing that the judges might go, well, we'd like to see a little bit more variety in that, but so well done.
Well, there is Giselle. We're going to hang in for the score. Meanwhile, let's take a look at a little bit of her routine.
Teams, please prepare to proceed to your next event.
We'll be back with more from Iowa after this. A 9.85 for Giselle Bonaforte. Ready now for the third rotation here at the Big Ten Women's Gymnastics Championships. The team will line up this way. University of Illinois goes to the vault. Michigan State on the uneven bars. Penn State on the balance beam. And Michigan, the six-time defending champion, on the floor exercise. Iowa, Minnesota, and Ohio State sit this rotation out.
And this is Michigan State's best event, the bars, and Michigan's best event, the floor exercise. And they gave up some on the balance beam.
Sarah Elizabeth Langford of the University of Michigan getting ready for her routine. Sarah Elizabeth, a sophomore. Boy, it's tough to crack that lineup, but she is someone who's coming on.
1.5 twisting front, right into another front. She goes for the big band sound for her music.
Nice to know she has a sense of history.
Nice double back that she nails right into the ground there. twist right into a front. Solid.
Sarah Elizabeth Langford, sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia, Michigan's last year's most improved gymnast, continues to improve, and there's her routine. Let us go now, just moments ago, to the vault. Again, freshman Phaedra Dixon from the University of Illinois.
And she does a handspring front. Problem with that vault is her legs were bent on the horse as she hit the horse. The preferred position is straight legs and then go to the tuck.
Here's vault number 2.
She tucks it on. And she does it again that time too, but she still gets good height and good distance, so it's still a pretty good vault. There's just that minor problem with the position on the horse.
And the score for Phaedra Dixon, 9.575 for the freshman. Meanwhile, let's go to her teammate, junior Becky Ashton.
And she does a handspring front. We see quite a few of those. She didn't get quite enough distance from the horse.
Over on the uneven bars, here's Holly Kiker of Michigan State. Now let's watch her again. She is nationally ranked NCAA number 26 in the country. Best for the Spartans at this event.
Uprise to handstand. And a Jaeger in the pike position. It's tougher to do that than to do it in the straddle position. That earns her a little bonus. And she wraps it up with a layout flyaway. Couple little steps in the landing. One of her teammates almost wiped out coming over to congratulate her.
Holly Kiker, sophomore for Michigan State. And one thing that we don't lack here are hugs and support. And she gets plenty of that from her teammates. Waiting for Kiker's score now. Meanwhile, this is Lisa Symes of Michigan finishing up her floor exercise routine. And again, Lisa Symes, who had a very shaky balance beam routine, looking for some strong support here to boost her all around. Of course, is her team score. Over on the uneven bars, here is Caroline Hecht. And this should be a treat. Caroline Hecht, again, as we told you, coming back after an injury-plagued sophomore year, an outstanding freshman year. Here she is as a junior on the bars for Michigan State.
Her technique on this event is so good. Good body positions on all the handstands. And there's a Gienger. She hits that release move as well. And here comes another one, reverse hacked. Catches it pretty well. And a double twisting flyaway with a really super landing. You can see why Michigan State is very good on this event.
Caroline Hecht from Baltimore, and we'll get her score for you. Meanwhile, this is Bridget Knavely on the floor exercise for Michigan. Sarah Elizabeth Langford, 9.75. Lisa Symes, 9.875. Both for Michigan, of course. Bridget playing to the cameras a bit.
Her style and her sister Mindy's style are a little bit similar. Not in their music selection, but sort of in their body movements. She said she's really having a great time doing college gymnastics after having competed on the club level. It's a nice change, real good team atmosphere. And she tumbles forward with a full twisting front. Good job.
Bridget Knably. Over on the uneven bars. Now let's pick up senior Brianne Leckie. All-around competitor.
And she's wrapping it up with the double flyaway. That dismount, we've seen it a couple times now tonight, is worth an E. So that one of the toughest you can do.
Assistant coach Gary Ehrman doing the spotting and doing the cheering for Brianne Leckie, senior from Vancouver, British Columbia.
Michigan State off to a very good start in this meet.
Lisa Symes, by the way, of Michigan, has taken the lead now in the floor exercise with her 9.875. On the balance beam, Polly Kuika with a 9.8, and Caroline Hex 9.825 has moved her into first place. Here now on the balance beam, we've got Nikki Smith, finished 4th a year ago for Penn State. Nikki, a sophomore.
And this camera angle really gives you a good idea of what they're working on up there.
Just 4 inches across.
Yes, it is.
16 feet long and 4 feet high.
I'm not sure why they decided on 4 inches. You know, why not 8? Just to give them a little bit more room. But
spoken like a true former all-around champion.
yes, I might add that balance beam was not one of my favorite events.
And you didn't even go to Michigan.
Right. Penn State's been pretty solid on this event so far tonight. That back handspring to a handstand. Ideally, you hold the handstand position a little bit before you move on, and she managed to hang on. And showing just a little bit of flexibility and balance there. And she does a gainer full off the side.
Brianne Leckie. Checking Nikki Smith on that. And as we bring you more action, Mike Liederman along with Robin Hubner and our Fox Sports Chicago crew from Iowa City at Carver Hawkeye Arena, the Women's Big Ten Gymnastics Championships. Let's go now to the balance beam. Maria Taylor, freshman for Penn State. As she gets ready for her routine, we'll try to pick up Nikki Smith's score. That is coming. Gemma Cuff, by the way, the freshman, fell and came up with a 9.25 on the beam. Meanwhile, it's as they prepare here, let's go to the floor exercise. And Sarah Kane, who won this a year ago. Here is Sarah Kane of Michigan.
She's a beautiful dancer in this event. She can tumble too, though. Sky high, double back, complete control on the landing.
Last year, this was a three-way Michigan tie for first with Nikki Peters, Heather Kapnick, and Sarah Kane right here.
And she shows she can front tumble too. Nice control.
Bridget Knably, whom we saw earlier at 9.875, moves her into a tie for the lead with teammate Lisa Symes.
This routine is on pace to be right up there as well, though. Notice the pretty extension on the leaps. Leaps are always fully split, legs straight, nice toe point. And she wraps it up with a full twist and sits down. Tough break. She just under-rotated it a little bit and had to sit back. And she knows, oh, it was so close. She's saying to herself, why did I do that?
More problems for Sarah. And that was a 9.375 low score for Sarah Kane. Not going to win it this year.
That's not gonna do it.
Maria Taylor finishing here for Penn State on the balance beam.
with the falls Michigan has had on beam and that one fall now on floor exercise, they have opened the door some, with Penn State being pretty solid so far, and Michigan State hitting their routines as well. We'll just have to see how it all pans out.
Michigan State finishing on the bars with a 49.225. A good effort for them.
Huge score.
Very good for them. And Steve Shepard talking to his athlete. And here is Heather Kabnick. And Heather again on the floor exercise. Won this a year ago. Two of her teammates. Michigan, too early to say, but they are in a bit of trouble here.
And she does a full in back out. Huge tumbling move. From the vantage point we're at, I'm not sure if she went out of bounds, but it kind of looked like it. If she did, that was a 1/10 reduction. But a huge first tumbling run and a full in back out. She combines a little front and back tumbling there. That first tumbling run she did, I mentioned an E move. The most difficult moves you can do. They go A, B, C, D, and E. E being the most difficult. So that puts her routine way up there in terms of difficulty. She's got to hit this third tumbling run. No problem. Good finish.
All right, Heather Kabnick. That was just moments ago, and apparently on the routine went out of bounds. Only a 9.75 for Heather. Now here is Missy Leopoldis for Penn State. Her best event. Finished top 10 in the championships a year ago. Missy the junior on the balance beam.
And our to the dismount. Good routine, good landing.
Okay, Missy Leopoldis will bring you her score when we come back. Meanwhile, take a look at Heather Kabnick's routine for the University of Michigan. We'll be back. There it is. Yes, sirree. Get your Hawkeye souvenirs right here. And that's where we are. Carver Hawkeye at University of Iowa. And let's check the standings after 3 rotations. Interesting, Robin, things shaping up here because University of Michigan, again, obviously you're comparing apples to oranges some. But Michigan well behind, better than a point behind Penn State. And Michigan State, or just about a point behind Michigan State. And again, Iowa and Minnesota have only competed once each. But you see, there's a battle shaping up.
I'm not surprised by the good performances by Michigan State and Penn State, but Michigan has really had a tough go here. I'm not saying that they're out of this thing because they've got 2 really good events to come, but they're going to have to hit their routines from here on out if they're going to win this thing.
The 4th rotation stacks up this way with Iowa on the vault, Minnesota on the uneven bars, Michigan State goes to the balance beam, and Ohio State on the floor exercise. Michigan, Illinois, Penn State have buys. And again, we'll get a chance to see Minnesota on the bars. We're looking here at freshman Megan Skokin. Chalking up, ready to go. Megan's going to be shouldering a lot of the load, not just this year, but with 6 seniors graduating for the Hendersons. There's going to be a lot of opportunity there for the underclassmen, as well as a recruiting class coming in.
Anytime you lose 6 teammates to graduation, you got your work cut out for you. Nice pirouette at the top, right into a Tkachev or reverse hack. Looking good so And she wraps it with a double tuck flyaway, getting Minnesota off to a good start.
Megan Skokut, Indiana product for the Golden Gophers. Now let's take a look at Iowa on the vault. This is freshman Angie Hungerford, and she is going to do what you described, that Yurchenko takeoff, and it is risky, and no one would know better than Angie, who suffered a broken neck, if you will, as a high school student, a sophomore, and was competing 3 months later after the surgery. Go figure that.
That's unbelievable. The reason this vault can be so dangerous, and the reason it wasn't allowed on the collegiate level until now, is that it's completely blind. As you can see there, she does a great job.
Wow.
Doing it in the layout position, but it is absolutely a blind entry to the vault.
You're facing away from the horse as you go.
Exactly, and timing is of the essence here. If she's just a little bit off on the board, she could miss a hand and slip, and that's probably what happened to her on the time that she was injured. But this time, she nails it. That vault is worth a 9.8.
As she readies for her second vault, let's pick up the floor exercise. Ohio State. This is sophomore Jill McMillan.
Everybody's happy about that.
Into the music for sure. Sophomore from Tip City, Ohio.
Ohio State in a little bit of not a rebuilding phase, if you will, but they had a period of dominance just like Michigan did a while back, where they won championship after championship. And now they're kind of working their way back. Nice variety with some front tumbling. And she hit that routine.
Yeah, she lit up this crowd.
Ohio State Buckeyes.
That's for sure. Back to the vault, second attempt for Iowa's Angie Hungerford.
And her second effort is even better than the first.
Oh, the judges gave her a 9.575, which I thought was a little low, but what do we know?
Well, you know, the vault in itself is only worth a 9.8. It's not worth a 10, so you've got to take that into account.
For Minnesota now, sophomore Melissa Chang. We're watching her uneven bars routine.
And her teammates doing what they can to help her out.
Melissa Chang, sophomore from Blue Springs, Missouri.
So after a little bit of a rough start on the vault for Minnesota, a couple of falls, which of course they didn't have to count, but they seem to be on track on bars.
For Ohio State now, top 15 performer last year, Kelly Harper.
Her opening tumbling run is a front full. She broke form just a little bit on it. But high energy dance for sure.
by the way, on the bars. We just saw 9.8. And there is Kelly Harper. Very happy with her performance, getting to high 10s. Back to Minnesota on the uneven bars. Sophomore Judy Cavazos.
She is so great on this event. She looks real tall. Oh, great release move there. It's a full twisting Tkachev, a reverse hacked. Super tough, right into another reverse hacked. Body positions, great handstands. Toe on with a half and a solid landing. Excellent routine.
And Judy Cavazos, the score has just gone up, 9.95, and that puts her into the lead. Molly Kiker on the balance beam for Michigan State.
Michigan State so far, keeping their composure, keeping the pressure on. I shouldn't say the pressure, they're in the lead. But keeping the pressure on all the other schools. While the music blares, she keeps her concentration. Just a tiny bobble there. That's a 5/10 deduction. She just was a little bit off. Sometimes you can fight it and keep on, but she just was a little bit too far off to make the correction. Again, the balance beam proves to be the tough one for a lot of teams. And she'll have to take that 5/10 deduction for the fall.
Molly Kiker very disappointed. Let's go to the freshman, Bonaforte. Giselle Bonaforte on at the ball.
And she packs so many twists in there, it's impossible to count. I think it was 2.5.
Just a little step off on the landing, and we'll take a look at it again. Giselle Bonaforte.
Handspring. She didn't even get her hand on the vault, it looked like there. Yeah, that's 2.5. Not quite. The feet didn't quite make it around. So there's a slight deduction there, but that is a lot of twist to pack in.
One of the assistant coaches who will be spotting her here is her brother, Chris, who is a graduate student and also a part-time assistant at Iowa, competed at Michigan. Here's Giselle.
She's going to look to complete the twist a little bit more, control the landing a little bit more too.
Next on floor for the Buckeyes, Mindy Farmer.
About the same as the last one, I would say. That vault's worth a 10. She did a 9.7, I believe, in the first effort. I think that one was about as good as the last.
We'll wait for her score. Here is Mindy Farmer on the floor exercise for Ohio State. Finished 7th at the championships a year ago.
Double turns right in a row. Nice clean front tumbling there with the layout right into a tuck front. And once again, we talk about the changing music. This would be the Irish jig to me. That's what it sounds like. interesting finish.
Farmer, Ohio State
For
Buckeye.
Mindy Farmer, junior. Happy. Now Caroline Hecht on the balance beam for Michigan State, having her problems.
We saw Polly Kiker take a fall on her routine. Caroline ranked second in the country, or second, I should say, in the conference, in the Big Ten Conference on this event.
Kiker with a 9.35 after that fall. And
So the
Caroline,
pressure continues. And what makes it very interesting, since we've got 4 events going on at a time and 3 teams on a bye, you never really know quite where everybody stands until this thing is all played out. But I know that Caroline is thinking, I gotta stay on, and she does.
Michigan State University.
let's take a look now at
That concludes our 4th round of competition in the 1998.
let's take a look now at Kristen Peugeot of Michigan State.
Teams, please prepare.
Peugeot
to
again
proceed to
the
your
highest
next
ranked
event.
nationally in this event, and we'll show her on the beam. Again, Kristen Peugeot, sophomore, ranked 22nd nationally.
I think she made a mistake on that first. She was supposed to do 2 back handstands or a layout on the first go around. She didn't feel quite right about it, so she went back and repeated the element. And that may be a slight deduction. Given the fact that an acrobatic series or flight series is required, she knew she had to get that in order to meet the requirement. Good amplitude on her leaps. I know when she comes down, when the athletes come down on after their leaps, it sounds like they're landing on a ton of bricks, but that beam is padded. As much as it doesn't sound like it is slightly.
So for Kristen Peugeot, 9.75 her score. Caroline Hecht also a 9.75. They're close, but the Michigan gymnasts still lead in that event. We'll be back with more from Iowa. Ready for the 5th rotation. Michigan goes to the ball. University of Illinois on the bars, Minnesota on the balance beam, Penn State on the floor. Ohio State, Iowa, Michigan State all have byes. And let us take a look here at Nikki Peters, who is as exciting a gymnast as you want to see, and she puts power into her vault.
She does. Great handspring front, just a step on the landing, but she gets just about as high and just about as far away from the horse as you can get on that ball.
Now with Nikki, there's so much power in her legs, you think she's going to go through the floor. She is so powerful. Over on the uneven bars, Becky Ashton, who finished 3rd in a tie for 3rd a year ago, from Illinois now, competing. Scored a beat right now, 9.95. Jules Cavazos of the University of Minnesota. Whoa.
Ouch. That stings.
Nikki Peters, by the way, a 9.75 on her first vault.
Tough to go on after hitting your heel that hard. She pulls it together so far and still makes a pretty good routine out of it.
For Becky Ashton, junior from Illinois. Let's take a look now at Nikki Peters' second vault. Remember, 9.75 on her first. She can let it hang out here. Whoop.
Little struggle on the landing. She doesn't fall all the way down, but takes the deduction for the foot sliding out.
All right, we'll check on Nikki Peters. Probably not as good. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Bridget Knebel in Michigan. Just moments ago, had a problem.
But the first vault she did, she nailed. She turned in a 9.8. 9.825 on the
9.825 to move into a first place tie with Lisa Symes, who followed with a 9.825. Here's Gemma Cuff, the Britisher, now a freshman at the Place in State College. She is a Lady Lion for Penn State.
You know, they do these routines so many times, their teammates get to know virtually every dance move and every idiosyncrasy of these routines. Nice clean double front, or double twist right into a punch front. And she rounds it out with some more combination tumbling. Full twist right into a front.
Gemma Cuff.
Gemma Cuff from Penn State gets the congratulations from her teammates. Let's go to Michigan on the vault. Here is Lisa Symes again competing for the all-around moments ago.
For such a slight, tiny gymnast, she does get a fair amount of power coming off the horse. And she does a handspring front. Great body position. Good lift. And you can't land them any better than that.
And that translated to a 9.825. That puts her into a share of the lead with Bridget Knably and Chrissy Michaud, a freshman from Michigan. And here's Sarah Kane live, also from Michigan.
She does the Yurchenko style. With a half twist, layout with a half twist. Just gonna have to correct the landing a little bit next time around.
There's Lacey Percott from Minnesota on the balance beam. We'll get to Sarah Kane's score in a minute.
Lacey can be solid as a rock on this event because her concentration is usually superb. And she sure holds it on that first series. Sometimes when she does that first leap there, she shows a little bit more amplitude. Nerves coming up just a tiny bit. There she goes. Shows a little bit more amplitude. Skater back handspring.
Sarah Kane, a 9.725 for her vault from Michigan.
Watch this one, Mike. You're gonna. Oh, she used to take that over the beam a little bit. Show a little bit of flexibility, but that's one of the requirements on beam is actually to get down on the level of the beam. It doesn't really matter how you do it, but it's a requirement. And she finishes with a gainer layout with full. Solid effort by Lacey.
Senior Lacey Percott. Here is Sarah Kane's second vault moments ago.
And a nice Yurchenko layout with a half twist, just a tiny, tiny step.
Bev Flocky congratulating her. Scott Sherman, the assistant coach, again at 9.725 for Sarah Kane. Phaedra Dixon of Illinois on the uneven bars. Sheckett, corrected score now, 9.875.
I think that's for the second vault.
For Sarah Kane's second vault. And that puts her in the lead.
Meanwhile, back on the bars. Nice uprise to handstand there.
Dixon, top 25 nationally ranked.
Fly away. She holds it. Holds herself on the landing.
Bob Starko congratulating her. And here is Heather Kabnick, who won this as a freshman with a 10.0, has been injured She is back as a senior. Here is her first vault.
And she throws a handspring pike front. Almost has to sit, puts her foot back, she shakes her head, she goes, no, that's not it.
I can do it better. Well, we'll find out.
Now she can also do this vault pike with a half. I'm not sure if she's going to do that vault or she's going to play it a little more safe and do the pike. Once again, she scores a 9.525 on that first vault.
She has 9.875 to beat. She has won this 2 out of her 3 years in competition. There's her national ranking.
She's either gonna play it safe and do the handspring pike.
Oh, you think so?
Well, yes, it looks. No, it looks like she's gonna do the half. I just checked out the
10.0 possibility.
The old vault table here, so we'll see. I think she's gonna be doing the pike with a half. Pike, there's the half.
And just a step.
Just a little too low. She doesn't have enough rotation. And, boy, she nailed that vault in the warm-up so nicely.
And not happy. Let's take a look at Heather's vault again.
She just doesn't have quite the speed and rotation she needs to really pull this off. The vault looks great. Perfect body position, but look, I'm just not around quite enough and has to take a big step forward.
Nikki Smith, Penn State Lady Lion.
Okay, and you can see the disappointment on the face of Heather Kapnick. Heather finishing an outstanding career at Michigan. Knows she doesn't have enough to win that vault again, but obviously wants the points for her team as well. A 9.65 on the second vault. So that's not going to get it done for her this year. Lisa Symes consoling Heather. Let's take a look on the floor for Penn State. You're looking at Missy Leopoldis right there, and Missy again in competition for the all-around championship. And she is about set to begin her floor exercise routine. Leopoldis, the junior.
Next up on beam for Minnesota will be Haley Canadian. Next up on floor for Penn State, Missy Leopoldis.
Once again, the showcase event of women's gymnastics is a floor exercise. A smile certainly doesn't hurt. It helps a lot. Helps to play to the crowd and to the judges for that matter. Nice sky-high double tuck. And Missy getting ready to wrap it up here. Punch front, no full twisting front. Penn State off to a great start on the floor exercise.
Missy Leopoldis of Penn State. So we have 2 rotations to go and a lot of events still up for grabs. Meanwhile, let's finish up here with looks like Kathy Kaiser from Minnesota on the beam.
And Kathy Kaiser is so strong in this event. She's another one of those people who can be solid as a rock when her concentration is right on.
Tactful. Kathy Keyser, a junior, competed on this event last year at the championships.
She could have used a little bit more amplitude in that leap.
Iowa will be on bars. Illinois will be on the lead. Michigan State will have the floor. Minnesota, Michigan, Penn State will have bars.
And she wraps it up with the full twisting gainer.
Kathy Keyser, 9.875. That moves her into the lead on the balance beam. 2 rotations to go, and look at this. After 5, Minnesota in first place, Penn State, couple of tenths back, then Michigan and Michigan State. So Michigan State, which had been first, is now fourth. We've had 3 lead changes already. The 6th rotation, Ohio State on the vault, Iowa on the bars, Illinois on the balance beam, Michigan State on the floor, Penn State, Michigan, Minnesota all have byes. Let's go to Ohio State on the vault. This is Kelly Harper, 2nd place a year ago. Kelly Harper Jr. for the Buckeyes.
Nice solid layout Tsukahara, worth a 9.8. She takes 1 step back.
Larry Cox talking it over as she will try her 2nd vault. Here's a look at the first again.
Working real hard to get good speed into the horse. Slight leg separation, but very minor. And just the 1 step. She's going to look to improve on the landing. And that's about all she can do.
The uneven bars. Let's go over there while Kelly Harper gets set. Let's go to the uneven bars. And this is Robin Gamble of Iowa. Robin Gamble, a sophomore for Diane DeMarco's Buckeyes.
She swings these handstand moves really nicely. Nice release move there, but she's giving up little tenths of points there by bending the knees and losing her toe point. Just small deductions. And she wraps it up with that tough double layout flyaway.
Phaedra Dixon, the freshman, on the balance beam.
Whoa, and she hangs on. Little balance check.
Next up on the floor for Michigan State, Kristen Bouchot.
Looking a little bit tentative there on that leap, but she goes right into a gainer layout. And a little bit of a pause there as she prepares for the full twist dismount. Not the toughest dismount you'll see.
Nice job for the freshman. Over to the uneven bars. This is Angie Hungerford from Iowa. And just couldn't hang on.
A little water, a little chalk.
As much clearing her head as dusting the hands.
Yes. You notice that most of the athletes wear hand guards or hand grips. Helps save the hands a little bit from calluses. Also helps them hang on a little bit easier as well in some of these big swing moves.
In the background there, Diane DeMarco.
Oh,
whoops.
she takes a 2nd fall. Now we're looking at a point deduction for that. For the 2 of the falls combined. Let's see if we can see what went wrong here in this. Jaeger just She should have hung on to that one. She was right on. Hands came right down on top of the bar, but she just couldn't hold on to it.
Back to live action. Hungerford finishing up.
And she realizes that certainly this routine will go down as not one of her best, but
as you say, you learn more from your defeats than from your victories.
Yes, you do. And she is very upset.
Kelly Farrar now for Illinois on the balance beam. Kelly's a senior. And again, except for Minnesota, very few seniors on these teams. And a lot of talent coming up from the underclasses.
There's a very nice combination of a round off into a layout. Most often you see a layout coming out of a back handspring. So it's kind of refreshing to see a little bit different combination. Aerial cartwheel right into a jump. Once again, Kelly doing some moves that you don't see all that often. Showing a little bit of originality. And a cartwheel, full twisting gainer layout.
Good routine for Kelly Farrar.
Routine, yes it was.
Let's go over to the vault now, and here's another one of those talented freshmen, Lindsay Vagadis of Ohio State. And Vagadis very happy with Coach Larry Cox. That was her first vault.
I know her second vault was great as well.
Lindsay Vagadis, you know, we haven't talked about her, but she is a real find for Ohio State. She came up with a 9.875, but let's take a look first at the freshman Giselle Bonaforte on the uneven bars. And here again is someone who nationally ranked, the freshman. Could see maybe a changing of the guard here, as Nikki Peters has owned this event from Michigan the last couple of years.
And watch what she does here. She does a front stalter, but her hands are the wrong way, so it's much more difficult than if her hands would be facing the other direction.
Vagadis, a 9.9, moves her into first place, the freshman.
Giselle's just swinging very well. She does a double twist, fly away as her dismount. That was a great routine. I'm not sure it's going to beat Cavazos at 9.95, but it's going to be right up there.
Kim Barris, Illinois' top gymnast, ranked 5th in the nation on this apparatus. Here's Kim, looking to improve on a 4th place finish in the championships a year ago.
And she's ranked 1st in the Big Ten on this event. So if anybody could win this event, she certainly could. Two back handsprings into a solid layout walkout.
Kim, of course, had that big problem flying out of bounds in her floor exercise routine, but could more than make up for it here.
Showing nice combination there. She does the leap into a back handspring and another leap. Might not look that tough, but what makes it tough is to not pause between anything, and that's what the judges like to see. Otherwise, they may take a deduction if there's a pause. Great full twisting leap there. Just a slight balance check.
Giselle Bonaforte, by the way, the score is in 9.875. A good score, but not good enough to move Judith Cavazos of Minnesota out of first place.
And this was a great balance beam routine. She's going to score well with that. The score to beat on the beam, of course, 9.875 from Kathy Kieser of Minnesota.
Kim Barris Now let's go to the vault again. Here's Susan Ekman again on a bad ankle. Her second vault. Tied for 6th a year ago.
Very pretty handspring pike front.
A 9.8 for Susan Ekman. A good job, especially when you know about the injury. They're not concerned about it in the long run. They know she'll be ready for the regionals. Meanwhile, Giselle Bonaforte, the freshman on the uneven bars, a 9.875. And that sets the stage for a showdown between Judith Cavazos and Nikki Peters of Michigan.
That's right.
She'll be coming up in the final rotation. Meanwhile, let us go.
We're waiting on Kim Barris' score, and I think we could.
This is Gina Weichman, the freshman for Illinois, her beam routine.
And Barris does a 9.825, so it's not enough to overtake Kieser from Minnesota.
Kieser at 9.875 leading. And of course the all-around still to be decided. And that is shaping up between 4 gymnasts: Ellen Casey of Penn State, Lisa Symes from Michigan, Nikki Smith, and Joanna Knox of Penn State. So the Lady Lions are certainly doing well in the all-around.
And just like in the team competition, the leads have changed in the all-around competition, so we may not know any of this until all is said and done.
The final rotation. Yeah, and again, it is difficult with so many different events going on and teams with buys.
Right.
So you almost have to, well, you do have to wait until all the returns are in.
So far, Gina off to a good start. Solid as a rock up there. She's ranked 3rd in the Big Ten on this event.
Weichman from Clearwater, Florida.
Finishes with a double twist. That was solid. Once again, I'm not sure if it's enough to overtake the leader, but it's going to be right up there.
Let's pick up Polly Kiker's floor exercise routine in the middle for Michigan State.
Beautiful double turn there.
Kim Barris, a 9.825 on the balance beam. Puts her in 2nd place.
Good solid twisting finish.
Yes, forever tango. Forever Polly. Polly Kiker from Michigan State with her floor exercise routine. All right, 1 rotation to come. Will that 6-year winning streak of Michigan has come to an end? Hello there, back in Iowa City. We'll tell you the broadcast rights to tonight's event have been granted to Fox Sports Chicago by the Big Ten Conference. Any rebroadcast, reproduction of this event without the written consent of the Big Ten and Fox Sports Chicago is prohibited. She's having a good time. So are we watching this. The standings, all you can glean from this is any one of 4 teams can still win. 4 teams still have to finish. 3 already are. Michigan State, of those 3, has a shot. But it's all coming down to the last rotation for the team championship. And here's where they'll be. Penn State on the vault, they can win this thing. Michigan on the bars, they've won it 6 years in a row. They're in trouble, but can still win this thing. Iowa on the beam, and Minnesota with a shot to win on the floor exercise. There are your buys, Michigan State, Ohio State, and the Illini. Now let's take a look at Joanna Knox, who is in contention for the all-around championship. Joanna Knox, senior for Penn State.
Big trouble on that vault. Not enough rotation, not enough height to just get her around.
And Joanna Knox with a score 9.175. Not what she or the team needed.
As you said, pretty much any team could win this. So far, Michigan has already taken a couple of falls on bars. This is Penn State's best event, the vault. So if they continue to keep up the pace, they could win this.
All right, we'll
and Minnesota's best event, the floor.
And here, Michigan has been strong on the bars. This is freshman Bridget Knebly in a tight spot. A couple of her teammates have already had low scores or fallen, including Lisa Symes. And here is Bridget, who's done outstanding work this entire season for the Wolverines.
So far, she's doing really well. She makes it look so easy. Now that routine was right on.
The freshman from Minnesota attending Michigan. Bev Blocky gives her the good glad hand and the pat on the back.
Michigan needed that routine in a big way.
All right, here is Ellen Casey, the junior, tied for 6th a year ago, looking for the all-around and team points. Oh!
She's not going to get it with that vault. We're seeing
always amazes me how you can smile after something like that, but you got to present to the judges. Here's Jim Snem, the senior, her final routine in her collegiate career Big Ten championships-wise. And again, her team very much in contention for the team title.
This is Minnesota's best event by far. They have such a nice combination of clean tumbling, difficult tumbling, and nice dance skills. And that's why this is their best event, because they combine the two so well. And she rounds it out with a nice front tumbling combination.
Kim Svem.
Nice finish.
Kim Svem with a performance. Now we'll keep an eye on her score. Meanwhile, Bridget Knebly with a 9.925 on the bars. Now let's go to Ellen Casey's second vault.
She's going to need to stand this up if she's going to take the all-around, and she might have done it with that.
Tough to say.
Tough to say. We won't
Certainly
know.
better than the first one. We'll await the score here for Ellen Casey, the junior from Penn State. Now, while we wait for that, here is Nikki Peters on the bars. And Nikki Peters, she threw a 10 a couple of years ago. She won it last year as well. Boy, does Michigan need points here. It may be too late, but Nikki Peters is doing her thing.
And she is so great on this event. Big moves, big release moves. She hits the handstand positions all the time. She swings great. Her form is great. This routine is good speed on her giant swings into a double layout.
Oh, she hit it.
That might be our winner right there.
She knows it. The team mobs her. We're waiting for numbers.
I think that's our winning routine. It's going to be awfully close.
All right, here's Judith Cavasso. She is leading the uneven bars with a 9.95.
Such a pretty dancer she is. Interesting story how she came to Minnesota. She was a gymnast in Mexico, and I believe it was her brother who was in Minnesota as a foreign exchange student, and he heard about the gymnastics program and just told Coach Stevenson, hey, my sister does gymnastics in Mexico. Showed Jim a videotape of her in competition, and Jim said, I want to see her. So they worked it out, and
here she is.
Here she is.
Ellen Casey, meanwhile, a 9.7 on the vault. We'll still waiting for Nikki Peters' numbers on the uneven bars. We'll bring those to you. We'll bring those to you. There's a lot of anticipation here that it could be one of those in 2 digits.
And Judy wraps up with a beautiful double twist. Minnesota continues to keep up the pressure. Nice.
Judith Cavazos. And you know, the coaches are looking for the math majors to keep track of the scores here, because this could go down to the final entrant in the final event.
I don't think we've ever had this level of uncertainty, yes.
Let's take a look here at the dismount from Nikki Peters.
It's an E dismount, double layout.
As tough as you can get.
She plants her feet there. She knew she had it.
And you know what? She does. She did. It's a perfect 10. Nikki Peters, second time in 3 years, and her third straight win on the uneven bars at 10.0. The only one we've seen tonight, actually, the only one in the past 2 years.
Well deserved, well deserved. She packs in all the difficulty and just has great form and stuck the landing.
Gemma Cuff now for Penn State. Her second vault. She is the final athlete for the Lady Lions. Steve Shepard, her coach, cheers it on. We'll see where we go there.
And that is a nice looking vault, half on, half off into a front. Slightly different than the Pastors through Sukahara. A little bit different, looks similar, but a little bit different.
Mindy Knebly for Minnesota. See if she can lock up a championship for her team. Michigan, we see a 49 and 110, 49.1 on the bars. Nikki Peters, perfect 10. Apparently not enough to counteract some of the flaws and errors by her teammates. And here is Mindy Knebly. Minnesota has a shot at this now.
They do. And Mindy is the last performance for Minnesota. If she scores what she's capable of scoring, 9.9 plus, it's going to put them up right up there with Michigan and Penn State. And she finishes real strongly on her third tumbling.
Plays to the crowd, and she knows she's done well. We'll check those scores, and meanwhile, Nikki Peters once again will show you the Michigan bench. There's Nikki. Take the rest of the night off, Nick.
Yes, take that tape off the ankle and relax a little bit.
But right now, there's a bigger issue because the team championship hangs in the balance for Michigan. Will that streak of 6 straight continue to 7 or end? Giselle Bonaforte here, the freshman on the balance beam.
Nice to see the level of poise that she has as a freshman. Of course, most of these athletes, you know, have competed on the club level, and so they do have quite a bit of experience. But coming into the college scene, you know, it's a little bit of an adjustment. She is adjusted pretty well. Just a little balance check on that.
Kim Svem on her Minnesota floor exercise, 9.775. Judith Cavazos, a 9.8 for the Golden Gophers.
Boy, Minnesota with those scores really keeping up the pressure. Iowa not in contention to win this thing, but they've made a good showing. They've got some good, young, strong athletes. Certainly will build on that in the years to come.
Still waiting for Mindy Knebly's score, 9.85 for Mindy Knebly.
Boy, I don't know. This
is going to be down maybe to the 100th.
I wish I had the calculator right in front of me. Just can't do it all at once here. And Giselle wraps up with a nice beam routine, a solid stick on the landing. She's going to be one to watch in the years to come.
Okay. There's Nikki Peters again, the end of a perfect 10, and we will come back with the results. We are through the competition. The results are in, and guess what? There's a new Big Ten champion, the University of Minnesota. We'll be back to talk to the winning coaches after this.
Welcome back to Iowa City. I'm with the winning co-head coaches, Jim and Meg Stevenson from Minnesota. Jim, how does it feel to unseat Michigan after all these years?
Well, it's wonderful for us, and I'll tell you, it's really a great thing for the Big Ten too to have that championship move around. It's huge for Minnesota.
Meg, the team started off a little bit slow. How did they pull it out?
I think they just stayed in themselves. They got behind each other, motivated each other, and knew what they had to do, and came back in and did it time after time.
Congratulations to both of you. A great meet.
Thank you.
Mike?
Here are individual winners all around. Ellen Casey of Penn State on the vault. The freshman Lindsey Vagatus of Ohio State on the bars. Nikki Peters of Michigan with the perfect 10. Kathy Kieser of Minnesota wins the balance beam. And the floor exercise goes to both from Michigan, the freshman Bridget Knabely and Lisa Symes. For Robin Hubner, I'm Mike Lederman saying so long from Iowa City. The preceding has been a presentation of Fox Sports Chicago.